Welcome back to the 99. I wanted to do a video on where did the Passover start, because technically on the 11th, when this is going up, that is when Passover technically starts. I know on our calendars that we have, it's on a different day, I think, but technically this is when it is. And so I wanted to do a video on kind of like what the Passover is, where did it come from, when did it start, all of that. So I'm going to be reading a few passages. I think there's four. And they're a little bit longer because it's telling what's going on. So it's a little bit of a read, but I'm hoping I can do this before my son wakes up. He's asleep, so I'm taking advantage of the naps. But okay, so we're going to start in Exodus because that is when the first Passover happened. It's in chapter 12. So it's Exodus chapter 12, 1 through 30 is what I'm going to be reading. And yeah, so we'll just do that first, and here we go. So it says, while the Israelites were still in the land of Egypt, the Lord gave the following instructions to Moses and Aaron. From now on, this month will be the first month of the year for you. Yeah, so I also think, and I was told this too, I think from what it sounds like here too, is that the Passover, the day when Passover starts, that's like their new year. So that's like our January 1st. That's their new year. So it says, from now on, this month will be the first month of the year for you. Announce to the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each family must choose a lamb or a young goat for a sacrifice, one animal for each household. If a family is too small to eat the whole animal, let them share with another family in the neighborhood. Divide the animal according to the size of each family and how much they can eat. The animal you select must be a 1-year-old male, either a sheep or a goat with no defects. It says to take special care of this chosen animal until the evening of the 14th day of this first month. Then the whole assembly of the community of Israel must slaughter their lamb or young goat at twilight. They are to take some of the blood. So this is part of the story that we're familiar with. I'm sure you guys are. I don't know how I didn't know they were connected, but they are. So it says they are to take some of the, well, I knew that it was called the Passover, like when this part happens, but I didn't know that it was necessarily connected to like today's Passover and like Easter time. I didn't know that they were connected that way. But it says they are to take some of the blood and smear it on the sides and top of the door frames of the houses where they eat the animal. That same night, they must roast the meat over a fire and eat it along with salad greens and bread made without yeast. Do not eat any of the meat raw or boiled in water. The whole animal, including the head, legs, and internal organs, must be roasted over a fire. Do not leave any of it until the next morning. Be sure to burn whatever is not eaten before morning. These are your instructions for eating this meal. Be fully dressed, wear your sandals, and carry your walking stick in your hand. Eat the meal with urgency, for this is the Lord's Passover. On that night, I will pass through the land of Egypt and strike down the firstborn son. Sorry. It's a little closer when you have a boy. I will pass through the land of Egypt and strike down every firstborn son and firstborn male animal in the land of Egypt. I will execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt, for I am the Lord. But the blood on your doorposts will serve as a sign, marking the houses where you are staying. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. This plague of death, sorry, I can't see. Did not think I would cry reading this. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. This plague of death will not touch you when I strike the land of Egypt. This is a day to remember each year. From generation to generation, you must celebrate it as a special festival to the Lord. This is the law for all time. Sorry. For 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast. On the first day of the festival, remove every trace of yeast from your homes. Anyone who eats bread with yeast during the 7 days of this festival will be cut off from the community of Israel. That's pretty intense. Don't eat the wrong bread. On the first day of the festival, and again on the 7th day, all the people must observe an official day for holy assembly. No work of any kind may be done on these days except in preparation of food. Celebrate this festival of unleavened bread. So that's another name for it, is the festival of unleavened bread and the Passover. Those are like, it's two names for the same thing. For it will remind you that I brought your forces out of the land of Egypt on this very day. The festival will be a permanent law for you. So permanent law. So we're supposed to continue to celebrate this. I'm assuming it's mostly just for people in Israel that they're commanded to continue to do this. I myself am going to be taking part in my first one on the 11th when this goes up. I'm doing it. I'm filming this a little bit early, but just so I can focus on that day when that comes, because that's Friday, and so I want to be focused on that. But yeah, I'm going to be taking part in one of those too, so that'll be fun. I was told to be prepared to cry, so I guess I'm practicing now. Let's see. Sorry. So 17 says, celebrate this festival of unleavened bread, for it will remind you that I brought your forces out of the land of Egypt on this very day. This festival will be a permanent law for you. Celebrate this day from generation to generation. The bread you eat must be made without yeast from the evening of the 14th day of the first month until the evening of the 21st day of that month. During those 7 days, there must be no trace of yeast in your homes. Anyone who eats anything made with yeast during this week will be cut off from the community of Israel. These regulations apply to both the foreigners living among you and the native-born Israelites. During those days, you must not eat anything made with yeast wherever you live. Eat only bread made without yeast. Then Moses called all the elders of Israel together and said to them, go pick out a lamb or young goat for each of your families and slaughter the Passover animal. It says to drain the blood into, a basin. Then take a bundle of hyssop branches and dip it into the blood. Brush the hyssop across the top and sides of the door frames of your houses, and no one may go out through the door until morning. Here it comes again. For the Lord will pass through the land to strike down the Egyptians, but when he sees the blood on the top and sides of the door frame, the Lord will pass over your home. He will not permit his death angel to enter your house and strike you down. Remember, these instructions are a permanent law that you and your descendants must observe forever. When you enter the land the Lord has promised to give you, you will continue to observe this ceremony. Then your children will ask, what does this ceremony mean? And you will reply, it is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, for he passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt. And though he struck the Egyptians, he spared our families. When Moses had finished speaking, all the people bowed to the ground and worshipped. So the people of Israel did just as the Lord had commanded through Moses and Aaron. And that night at midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn sons in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn son of the prisoner in the dungeon. Even the firstborn of their livestock were killed. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the people of Egypt woke up during the night, and loud wailing was heard throughout the land of Egypt. There was not a single house where someone had not died. So, I was not planning on crying reading that. Caught me off guard, even though I've read it before, I've watched the movie where that happens. I knew it was coming and it still got me. Okay. So yeah, and this is just a reminder too that if we do what the Lord tells us to, we will be protected even when, even when plagues and different, things are happening, like we will be kept safe. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to, touch back on Psalm 91. That is one of my favorite passages. And that's a protection prayer. And, it says that exact thing, that we will be, that no deadly disease will come near our home and we will be kept safe. And so that's a favorite of mine. But let's see, the next one is 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Verses 7 and 8. Let's see. 1 Corinthians 5, 7 and 8. I don't know why I didn't mark that. Get rid of the old yeast by removing this wicked person from among you. Then you will be like a fresh batch of dough made without yeast, which is what you really are. Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed for us. So let us celebrate the festival, not with the old bread of wickedness and evil, but with the new bread of sincerity and truth. Okay. So here's another long one. This one's in the New Testament. So I wanted to do an Old Testament one and a New Testament one, kind of comparing the differences in how they're done and, like I said, where it started. So it started in Exodus with Moses and, let's see. And then here in Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke 22. So this one is, like I said, it's in the New Testament. So this is when Jesus was with his apostles or disciples or whatever you want to call them. Either name is fine. Now this is in this section, obviously, where it talks about the Passover and the Last Supper and when Judas agreed to betray Jesus. So I'm going to read a little bit of that, and that goes from, same thing, from 1 to 30. So, okay. I don't know. I might not cry this time. We'll see. No promises. Okay. Let's see. The festival of unleavened bread, which is also called the Passover, was approaching. The leading priests and teachers of the religious law were plotting on how to kill Jesus, but they were afraid of the people's reaction. Now this, I've mentioned this passage before. This one really made me think. So verse 3 says, Then Satan entered into Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12 disciples, and he went to the leading priests and captains of the temple guard to discuss the best way to betray Jesus to them. So it sounds to me like he was possessed, which is pretty crazy because it says, Then Satan entered into Judas Iscariot, making it sound like a possession to me. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would have translated in the original text, but yeah, that's what it says. And I'm pretty sure it says that in multiple translations too. So I'm not sure what you guys think about that, but it sounds to me like a possession. So anyways, They were okay. Hold on. I'm going to start over. Then Satan entered into Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12, and he went to the leading priests and captains of the temple guard to discuss the best way to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted, and they promised to give him money. So he agreed and began looking for an opportunity to betray Jesus so they could arrest him when the crowds weren't around. Now the festival of unleavened bread arrived. When the Passover lamb is sacrificed, Jesus sent Peter and John ahead and said, "Go and prepare the Passover meal so we can eat it together." "Where did you want us to prepare it?" they asked him. He replied, "As soon as you enter Jerusalem, a man carrying a pitcher of water will meet you. Follow him at the house he enters. Say to the owner, 'The teacher asks, where is the guest room where I can eat the Passover meal with my apostles?' He will take you upstairs to a large room that is already set up. This is where you should prepare our meal." They went off to the city and found everything just as Jesus had said, and they prepared the Passover meal there. When the time came, Jesus and the apostles sat down together at the table, and Jesus said, "I have been very eager to eat this Passover meal with you before my suffering begins. For I tell you now that I won't eat this meal again until its meaning is fulfilled in the kingdom of God." Then he took a cup of wine and gave thanks to God for it, then said, "To take this and share it among yourselves, for I will not drink wine again until the kingdom of God has come." He took some bread and gave thanks to God for it. Then he broke it in pieces and gave it to his apostles, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." After supper, he took another cup of wine and said, "This cup is the new covenant between God and his people, an agreement confirmed with my blood, which is poured out as a sacrifice for you. But here at this table, sitting among us, is the man who will betray me. For it has been determined that the Son of Man must die. But what sorrow awaits the one who betrays him." The apostles began to teach each other. The apostles began to ask each other which of them would ever do such a thing. Then they began to argue among themselves about who would be the greatest among them. Jesus told them, "In this world, the kings and great men lord it over their people, yet they are called friends of the people. But among you, it will be different. Those who are the greatest among you should take the lowest rank, and the leader should be like a servant. Who is more important, the one who sits at the table or the one who serves? The one who sits at the table, of course, but not here, for I am among you as one who serves. You have stayed with me in my time of trial, and just as my Father has granted me a kingdom, I now grant you the right to eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and you will sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." Yeah. So, the Last Supper and the Passover, I didn't really make the connection early, like when I was younger, but kind of sounds like they're the same thing. The Passover and the Last Supper is the same thing, just different names for it. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't know that before, that they were the same thing, but so I found a quote that I liked. It says, "We Christians view Jesus as the ultimate Passover lamb, whose sacrifice on the cross is the true deliverance from sin and death, symbolized by the Passover meal." So communion is another name for it. When you take the bread and the wine, or the Eucharist, also is what it's called. It's a practice in many Christian what do you call it? Not religions, because it's all Christian. Anyways, like many Christian churches that commemorates Jesus's sacrifice with the bread and wine representing his body and blood. So typically you do that on church on Sundays, or if you've ever participated in Shabbat, you would do that there as well, which I got to do that before too. I'm going to continue to try and go to that every other Friday. We'll see. But a lot of things are obviously read in Hebrew because Shabbat is the Jewish Sabbath. And so some examples of the prayers that they would do is, they would say it in Hebrew, but I'm not going to do that. Let's see. So, and anybody who's seen The Chosen, they say these prayers too, which is kind of cool because, that's where I memorized it from, because I've seen that show like 5 times. The one for the wine is, "And blessed are you, Lord our God, who creates the fruit of the vine." And that blessing is recited before the wine is drunk, marking the beginning of Seder or Passover. So Passover has a lot of names. Seder is one of them. And then the one for the bread is, and blessed are you, Lord our God, who brings forth bread from the earth. And this blessing is recited before eating the matzah, or the bread. And that acknowledges God as the provider of sustenance. And let's see. I wanted to close with reading a popular psalm that's to be read after the Passover meal. There's a few of them, but I felt like this one, this was a good one. They actually read, I found during Passover, they actually read quite a bit. But some of the Psalms are pretty lengthy, so I'm not going to sit here and read all of them. Okay. So we're just going to read Psalm 118, and that's going to be it. Let's see. So it's 1 through, I was going to say, no way this is 30 verses too. 29. Okay. Okay, so Psalm 118. "And give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. Let all Israel repeat, his faithful love endures forever. Let Aaron's descendants, the priests, repeat, his faithful love endures forever. Let all who fear the Lord repeat, his faithful love endures forever. In my distress, I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord answered me and set me free. The Lord is for me, so I will have no fear. What can mere people do to me? Yes, the Lord is for me. He will help me. I will look in triumph at those who hate me. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in people. It is far better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. Though hostile nations surrounded me, I destroyed them all with the authority of the Lord. Yes, they surrounded and attacked me, but I destroyed them all with the authority of the Lord. They swarmed around me like bees. They blazed against me like a crackling fire. But I destroyed them all with the authority of the Lord. My enemies did their best to kill me, but the Lord rescued me. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has given me victory. Songs of joy and victory are sung in the camp of the godly. The strong right arm of the Lord has done glorious things. The strong right arm of the Lord is raised in triumph. The strong right arm of the Lord has done glorious things. I will not die, instead I will live to tell what the Lord has done. The Lord has punished me severely, but he did not let me die. Open for me the gates where the righteous enter, and I will go in and thank the Lord. These gates lead to the presence of the Lord, and the godly enter there. I thank you for answering my prayer and giving me victory. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. This is the Lord's doing, and it is wonderful to see. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Please, Lord, please save us. Please, Lord, please give us success. And bless the one who comes in the name of the Lord. We bless you from the house of the Lord. The Lord is God, shining upon us. Take the sacrifice and bind it with the cords on the altar. You are my God, and I will praise you. You are my God, and I will exalt you. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to participate in a Passover meal. I'm excited to go do that. Also a little nervous because I'm not sure fully what to expect. But yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be good, and I'm going to feel pretty blessed for going. So anyways, have a good start to the Easter time, and till next Friday, stay blessed.